We are live. Tony, thank you for doing this.
Oh, it's kind of fun. It's not my first car hunt rodeo for sure. I've done a lot of these over the past 35 years, so it's just you're in anticipation, and what you're going to find. You always want to be hopeful, but then the other side of you says everybody tells the story a different way.
Yeah. Well, you heard the last story.
Yeah.
With the 99 Tahoe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The pressure was on.
Yeah, you can't let the pressure get to you, even though it is. Now we're dealing with a dealer, which is a business versus a private owner.
Right.
He's got his guidelines where an owner really doesn't. So you're less likely to get misrepresentation with a dealer than you are with an owner. Some people say it's the other way around. The private owner is going to tell you what he knows, but if there's multiple owners on things, it's very difficult sometimes. You got to kind of trust your judgment, and you got to have a keen eye. Is really what it comes down to. It's just like buying a house. Not too much different.
You definitely pay more. You definitely can pay more, but a lot of times private owners are trying to get topped out.
They can, yeah, and they're able to deceive, conceive, and too. They're not going to always tell you the truth because they don't want to lose it. Meaning the chance of you buying it, but we just have to be just careful, when you look at it and make sure that if it's what it says it's supposed to be, you're okay. That's really the biggest thing. It's when something is presented or misrepresented is when you really have something to really consider,
Yeah, so what we're looking at is an all-white 2003 Ford Excursion equipped with a V10. It was a municipal vehicle, it's a police vehicle, so it still has lights. It still has some lights on it. I don't know if they work. I probably should have asked if those lights work.
I saw some 2 lights on the rear quarters, and they probably even do work I bet you could leave them as long as you don't use them,
Yeah.
And to install those lights, they had to drill holes in the body panel, so they might be.
No, west. I gotta go up. Yep. No, it's gonna be up here to the left. That's what it is. What were you saying?
You probably want to keep those on there anyway, because they had to drill some kind of hole and run a wire through there, obviously, in the work. So
they're red.
Yeah, I saw that. They're encased they almost look like a square little box.
Yeah, they're old. They're old. Now, they're probably incandescent. Nowadays, everything's LED.
Right.
I wonder if I could find, down the road, if
conversion,
worth it. A light that's an LED, just if there's a hole there.
Right. Oh,
just to fill that hole and to have a light.
Make a slight left turn onto I-696
This truck can carry a plow, not a big plow like what I have. It's not enough payload to legally do that.
In 4/10 of a mile, keep left on I-696 West.
There's no reason why it couldn't, aside from maybe updating the springs.
Right.
But it wouldn't be legal. Maybe okay just going up the road up to a property that's no main roads,
keep
just on the side streets.
West now.
But you can put a lightweight plow, a decent plow on it, nothing crazy.
Proceed on I-696 West.
But it's got a lot of miles.
Yeah, it's a 4-wheel drive. I don't know a lot about the history of these V10s.
They've had some issues with spark plugs.
Really?
Yeah, they've
falling out or
shooting out.
Shooting out.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Under the pressure, they didn't put enough threads in 2000, like 99 to 2000. I think they didn't put enough threads in to the spark plugs. Around this time of the vehicle, they added a few more threads to prevent it from happening. And that helped. And then later they added even more threads, and now the spark plugs tend to break off in the heads. Aside from that, I think that's pretty much it.
So it's a V10. That motor, even though we're dealing with a very big vehicle, a big platform, I don't know how easy it is to. Anything that era is going to be difficult to work on as far as pulling plugs
Pulling plugs probably not too bad. It's a big engine compartment because it is designed to accommodate a diesel engine as well. So the gas engine usually is pretty serviceable.
A good fit.
Yeah, just because the diesel is the one that's really hard to work on. But they are bigger gas engines compared to like a Chevy, because they have the overhead cam design versus the pushrod design, which tends to be a lot smaller. But still, it's a smaller platform than a diesel. So it's the modular V8. It's very similar to the 5.4, but this particular gear does not have the variable valve timing, so that helps with reliability a little bit. Those cam phasers were known to have some issues, so it's a little bit less power than the later model ones, but a little bit more reliable than the ones that have three valves. So,
well, the big thing probably too is when you drive it, bearing, humming noise. You know, if it's got good tires on it without really any kind of aggressive tread pattern, this thing should be a quiet vehicle.
yeah.
I'm sure it's got push button to engage the four-wheel drive.
Push button on the dash. All that should work.
Yeah.
Vacuum controlled hubs. Usually that stuff in higher mileage starts to be an issue. But the maintenance looks like whoever had the vehicle or whatever, it was actually owned probably by a city.
That'd be great, and if it was owned like by the city of Hillsdale, where they have money in the budget to maintain it, it'd be great if it's a one owner and it was owned strictly by the city. I mean, when you look at it, it's got that look of a vehicle that was ordered specifically for a purpose like that. And in other words, it doesn't look like somebody would order to transport their family. I think is it an XLT trim too?
XLT, yes.
So that's probably a little nicer interior, maybe a little exterior decor. I don't know what it did mechanically. I think
at the time XLT was more mechanical.
Versus an Eddie Bauer, which was the luxury.
Yeah. So it should have a payload package with it. It does say that it has a
platform hitch on it.
Platform hitch?
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, it's got a hitch that's welded to the frame in the back, so it's got and where you can obviously put a receiver in, and you're good to go. It's built to do work. Yeah.
And for me, it has 180,000 miles.
And I looked at the picture, not to correct you, so it turned 184. It's got 184,000 miles on it.
Okay, 184. Mm-hmm. But for me, I'm not adding that many miles per year.
Right.
Even if I use this, say we use the truck for full time, to replace the 250, it's possible I may do that. I'm gonna turn over.
It's 11.5 a year on average is what it's got. It's 16 years old. It's 11,500 miles a year,
which is not a lot at all.
No, the average person drives a minimum of 15.
Yeah. For me, in that situation, I'm going to use it. I drive probably 7,000 miles a year, and that's kind of high considering I drive that vehicle quite a bit. But if I'm not even driving it, because usually with the Super Duty that we use now, we put 7,000 miles a year, but I'll drive it here and there.
Right.
With this truck, I can drive it. I don't have to drive it at all. It's going to probably be 5,000 miles a year. So even though it's high mileage, it's not going to be at 250,000 miles anytime soon.
Right.
So, hopefully it's something I can make reliable. Maybe the perfect situation is I would put a full wrap on it if it really did work. I don't know how it would work for business, but if it did work out, it'd be a cheaper vehicle. I could put it doesn't look that great. It looks good, it's clean, but it's older. If I did a full wrap for whatever business-related lettered logo, whatever, it would eventually technically be cheaper than having a brand new truck, and it would look pretty good.
Well, if it was maintained, maintenance is everything. Age is not as big a factor as lack of maintenance. They play a part together, but if it was maintained, then that's everything. You're not going to find a brand new 2003 Excursion for sure.
Okay. Looks like there's some action up here. Looks like someone got maybe pulled over.
Yep.
mean, they're going for a lot more money. The other comparable vehicles.
You don't see a lot of Excursions.
Well, they only ran
In
them for a few
1.5
years.
miles,
They ran
turn
it from, I
right at
believe,
exit 18 onto I-75.
1999 and 2005. Very few years.
Are you serious? You see a car right there and you're going to pull out on it. What would make you do that? Instead of waiting. She's from Texas, so I guess they do that down in Texas.
All over the place. You're going overseas. I see you a lot. I see the UK. I see Germany. I see you on the road for a little bit.
Well,
extremely excited.
glad it didn't. Oh, it looks like a tire popped off.
Yeah.
You always see something when you hit the road, huh?
Oh, always.
So it's telling us 75 coming up here, right?
So I-75 is up here, yeah. We're not going to touch I-75.
We're not. It wants us to.
It wants us to take I-75.
That's what it wants. What do you think?
I've never seen that. I mean,
It's telling us we'll be there at 150.
I think it's. I mean, you take 696. You need to take this. We need to take this all the way to 275. Get off here, we're done. We'll be in a different world. You can't get off here. There's nothing to get off here for.
It's having us do
In
this.
1.5 miles,
It's shooting
turn
us back to
right at
94.
exit 18 onto I-75
Right, we need to stay on
towards
I-94
Detroit,
now.
Toledo, and then keep left
You wanna
onto
take it?
I-75
No,
south
we don't
towards
want to do
Detroit.
that. I mean, that's not the way we want to go. That's towards Flint.
There's an Excursion back there, not happy. Making a decision in the left lane. But yeah, they didn't have a
Turn right
long.
onto I-75
They didn't have a
towards
long
Detroit,
run.
Toledo now, and then
They
keep
were
left
one of the
onto
lowest selling
I-75
vehicles.
south towards Detroit.
Ford scrapped it. But what's really interesting is that it's basically a F-250. While it didn't have a big,
Proceed 4 miles on
it didn't sell a lot of
I-696
vehicles, a
west.
lot of units. You're building an F-250 though,
Right.
with a bigger cab. So I don't know why they canceled it. Probably some corporate guy who's saying, looking at just numbers. Saying,
Well,
get rid of it.
they look at sales statistics, and if it's not selling, it's not profitable. So
Yeah.
keep the parts around for a few years and prune them.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. It's like how is it not profitable even though it's just an F-250? It just has a different badge. And it has that bigger cab, so maybe it costs more to have that cab and it's not worth it.
When people look at that thing and they think gas gauge were automatically, yeah, what's that thing getting? 18, 19 to the gallon? I don't know if you can get that high with that gasoline.
That thing probably gets 10 to the gallon. If you're lucky, probably 7.
There you go, right there, a 35-gallon tank. I mean,
It would cost so much fuel you can have a new vehicle. Just because, I mean, it's just so much fuel that it's using. If you tried to daily drive it, if you put a lot of miles, say 15,000 a year, you're paying for a new vehicle just in fuel. So
yep.
it's probably okay right now, but if you hit another gas crisis like we did a few years ago,
Yep.
you're done. So yeah, our little maneuver didn't affect our time too much. It's literally the same arrival time, and it keeps us on a better road. 696 is a lot better than 75.
We'll take this to 275. 275 will get off at M14, and M14 will dump us right back onto I-94. And then we're going to find our exit, which I believe is the New Hudson exit, if I remember. And then then we'll take our journey into
In 1.5 miles, turn right onto exit 13.
It's showing every damn exit on there. Yeah, we know that's Greenfield, but we don't want Greenfield. I mean, they tell me that thing would have misled us onto I-75. We don't want that.
It would have took us there. It looks like it's trying to take us to maybe Greenfield. Either way,
We don't want to get off at Greenfield. I don't know if you want to get some bagels at one of the Jewish bakeries. We don't want to get out there. Hell no.
yeah, we'll take this to 275.
1 year. It was probably 1993 or 4. I had to turn around from here. It started to snow. It got so bad, I had to turn around. Those were the days before cell phones, and
In 1/2
I had to
mile,
call
turn
my
right
dad when I
onto
got
exit
in the
13.
house, and he was worried too. And he said, "I'm glad you turned around." snow belt out here, man. I was just getting nailed.
You weren't in a 4x4, were you?
No, I had a 86 6000 STE back in those days. So it was either 1992 if Laura and Donna were little.
Turn right onto
Where were they?
exit
Were they in a car?
13 now.
They were in the car, sure.
Oh my goodness.
see
Where was
my mom?
you and Karen too?
Karen was up front. Yeah.
This sounds so scary. That vehicle in the snow.
Most best technology there was at the time. Front wheel drive, tune port injection. I mean,
How was ABS?
ABS worked on it.
Four wheel?
Yep.
In 1 mile,
Might have-
turn
might
right
not have been
onto
too
exit
bad.
12.
Yeah, but the way the snow was coming down, we had accumulated almost an inch in less than 10 minutes.
It still would be different than today.
And then you're going up there, it's only going to be worse. Not only that, you've got to come back through this. We weren't spending the night up there, so it's a, roughly 2 up and 2 back, and that's a very uneasy visit when you know you're going to get belted. I mean,
And that's a 2-hour drive there. In that
in that
weather,
snow.
You could be
Yeah, I
in 3
turned
hours.
around. Turned around.
Yeah, whenever I drive a car and it's snowing, it's very scary.
Turn right onto exit 12 now.
Very scary.
I wonder why it's picking up all the exits and telling us.
In 1/2 mile,
It just
turn
wants us to
left
turn
onto
so bad. I
Southfield
don't know
Road.
why.
Boy, that's bad for somebody. At least I can say I've been up here before.
In
You were
8/10
talking
of a
about coming
mile,
up here in
turn
the
right
90s.
onto exit
What would that
11.
be like? Would you have to read a map? Like, there's no
Yeah,
GPS. So you'd have...
Karen knows how to read a map, but I mean, we knew how to get up here because we moved my parents up
In
here.
1/2 mile,
been up
turn
here so many
right onto
times.
exit 11.
Then my sister moved up to Jackson in 1987. So we had about 10. I had about taking the. I used to like to take the 696 route to 275 to M14 and then M14 to I-94 because it cut. The speed was better. The roads newer. And no offense, you didn't have to drive
In
through the crappy
4/10 of a mile,
area of
turn left
downtown.
onto Evergreen Road.
So when I would come back, I would have to make my decision before I got near Plymouth Road if I was going to get on 696 again,
west.
or if I was going to, or because you're on I-94 coming home, or just stay dead nuts on I-94 and drive home.
Wow. Like
The
me.
worst thing about it is nighttime driving can be difficult. And back then, it ain't like now with all the high intensity headlights. Really are aggravating. They're great for visibility.
Yeah.
But boy, I'll tell you what, I've noticed a difference this year as more and more newer cars get on the road, and I'm driving to work, it's still dark at 7:30 in the morning. The glare is incredible because they're so bright, and they weren't like that 45 years ago, I'm telling you.
Right.
And that makes a lot of change.
All right, so now they added like 7 minutes, so they must have some kind of...
Yeah, that's a kind of like a guide,
Yeah.
but there's nothing like being your own Columbus.
Yeah, I mean, we probably added... We've added 5 minutes, but it's easier,
Right. All these trucks are all heading for, when the 275 comes up just past Orchard Lake, and we'll veer to our right and we'll catch the 275 north, tell us, and then we're going to take that until we, 5 mile, 6 mile, and then we'll catch the M14, and then M14 will end and split us right back onto I-94. So we're taking like 2 junctions to get to I-94. But 696 as a rule is a better road as a rule.
Yeah.
We're alleviating the downtown thing. When we come back, hopefully it's with 2 cars, we just hook up the Plymouth, the exit for Plymouth Road. It tells you 696. We'll get back on it this way and
So basically, is stop everything. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm over. Yeah, I think that a lot of people get to that.
Well, hopefully there's no surprises when we look at this vehicle. There's no rust. I really should have, asked more questions about these lights that are on the truck. Now that I think about it, I just wasn't really concerned. But
well, it's not against the law to have them on there as long as you're not using them for false pretenses, meaning trying to act like a police officer.
Right.
So I don't think there's any law on that.
yeah, it has them in the rear doors, on the barn doors. When you open them up, the lights actually face outward. So like if you were doing some kind of emergency work, then you'd open those doors and they would flash.
I noticed that I saw the 2 on the edge of the rear of the quarter panels, but nothing beats seeing it.
Yeah, there's cheaper ones online and throughout the area. There was one for $5,000 over in like Farmington Hills, but you could tell that it had a lot of rust. It was cheaper, and they had shots in the engine bay. The engine bay was filthy. The coolant was filthy. You could tell, and I just know that would be a lot more work. I don't want to do a lot of work on the vehicle.
No, there's an old saying that, if only it's good. If only it is good, meaning, you can see the Orchard Lake sign. For an old guy, I still can kind of remember.
275 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's just telling us the same thing.
That's what we're gonna. And I am terrible at directions. I only know a few that I've stored in my memory bank over the years, and this was one of them. I mean, if I did it more often, shamefully to say, there's no reason to ever go back.
Well, I'm really bad with directions because I've always had GPS, and I can't do anything without it.
Well, things are more complicated today, and things are, I think, the changes I've seen since 1975 being on the road. I mean, January is 45 years I've had a driver's license, and the changes I've seen are just incredible.
Do you think that there's a difference in how people are driving?
Oh, yes.
People seem so self-centered.
I was out of it for the 11 years I was at the dealership because I was just doing a 7-mile round trip every day, going through side streets at 6:30 in the morning when nobody's up or nobody's rushing. What I see now on the big roads, Hall Road, Hayes, people are so aggressive. They don't have any patience. They want to dart out of you from driveways, from all different kinds of venues, especially shopping centers. They think because they have anti-lock brakes and traction control and they're in an SUV sitting up high that they got a license to
do whatever.
Right.
Just getting on the freeway is so stressful nowadays. It's like you could be getting on the ramp, and this person can be back here. He's gonna speed up. Mm-hmm. He's gonna speed up because he don't want you to be in front of him. Mm-hmm. It's crazy right now. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know. I wasn't around for even the early '90s before all the technology and all this stuff.
It was a different world. The traffic wasn't as heavy. In 1974, the speed limit was 55. We had just gone through an energy crisis, and the speed limit was only 55 on the freeways. That was it.
So was that related to the energy crisis?
Yep. Mm-hmm. They were trying to save fuel, and it stayed like that, I believe, for a couple of years. It didn't zoom up to like 76 again where they brought it back up, but so I was right in that transition period. In 1974, I had my learner's permit in the summer of 74, and it was 55. Everybody was on the same plane. Everybody had a rear-wheel drive car. You didn't see 4x4s, a pickup truck was something a tradesman owned, somebody who was an electrician or a plumber.
Might have had a 4x4.
Yeah, but everybody drove a car, and it's the population of the world. I mean, has changed. Oh yeah, It's in.
Do you think that's why, your dad, he may have decided to move out here where it's less, it's more spaced out?
Well, he liked the area out here, but he moved out here because my sister Gina was out here, and he went to he went to watch Christopher, and my dad used to drive out here on a Sunday afternoon and then stay all week and watch Christopher, and then come back home on a Friday afternoon. Like, he'd get in the car.
So he saw both worlds.
Yep. And his health wasn't as good as mine is by no means, and he was in his 60s, 63, 64, driving by himself, which I was very apprehensive of it, especially, God forbid, if you had gotten a flat, when you're an asthma, when you have bronchitis and lung problems, changing a tire can be a big effort.
Yeah.
And, I can't remember vividly, but I bet you there was weekends he ended up having to stay, especially in the winter, because you're getting dark at 5. She got out. Gina was a teacher, and she got home at 3:30. I mean, he got a lot of time to get himself situated. And sleepy. You can get sleepy. All the routines.
Oh yeah.
Not a good scenario for an older gentleman to be driving, and especially with a lung problem, because you don't want to be in that situation, you know, breathing problems. So
To see the different perspectives
with the grace of God, he
as
made
they
it
listen to your
through
music.
doing that.
They're hearing in ways maybe you didn't.
They ended up staying out here.
It's interesting to see that he made the choice to stay out where things are more simple, spread out.
Oh, yeah, you know, and this town was kind of like a little Mayberry. I don't know if it still is, but I'm sure it's kind of kept up with the times. But
Wow, it's going to be interesting to see how much it changed.
yeah. I don't really put a lot of hold on how much it's changed. I remember this dealership, because my sister Gina bought a couple cars from this place. There was a Chevy dealer in town called Frank Beck Chevrolet. I don't know if that's still there, but like the address we're going at, the Carlton address, the apartment complex that my parents lived in was called Carlton Place.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right there.
Yeah. Yep. And there was a fire station right by there. There was a 7-Eleven right by there. And then there's the little town with some businesses and a couple little cafes and restaurants, you know, all on the low end. And then the church is there, St. Anthony Church. That's where they used to go to, and inevitably that's where we ended up burying both of them there.
Well, your dad being an immigrant is the type of individual who would not have a problem moving like a long distance at all. He came from Italy.
Right.
And for a guy like you, it seems like you would want to stay close to home.
Right.
You know,
Well, I don't think he dug it a lot as Christopher got older and stuff, and Gina was buying a house here, a house there, and moving. You know, then he kind of got himself stuck out here. Once you get a doctor out here, and you kind of get used to it, you don't want to make a move. And then his health was not the best, even though you looked at him, he didn't look like his health wasn't good. So it's kind of tough. And don't forget, the whole time, Tilly, my mom, she never drove. So I mean, anything they did. So when he was gone, she was pretty much stuck there. Whatever she wanted to do there, there was a lot of people in the building, and you make friends. But
she stayed out there for a while.
Yeah, she stayed there a couple years after his death too.
Yeah,
you know, then we moved her to Tenant Van Dyke, all because of that. Look at that.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah, you can go with it. It's down to 2 lanes.
Perhaps that's why the GPS wants us to dart all over the place, because they're anticipating.
The biggest mistake in the world we could have made was getting off there.
Right.
So according to this, it's telling us we're right. It's only because I said that in advance, and I should have no knowledge of it. When you put this in, you're looking for your best route.
Yeah.
But yeah, over there on that side, it's 2 lanes too.
Yeah. Wow, it's just interesting. I've often thought about moving out. Oh, if it sounds like that truck, don't
In
get
1.5 miles,
things
turn
ticking
right
and
at
clicking.
exit
Yeah, that's
196 East.
I've often thought about, let's say, exit and how long get to the right.
You might want to get over, just to be comfortable. We got to stay in the. See, what are we looking for?
Get all the way.
We don't want to get off at this exit.
Right. Oh, this is exit only, that lane?
No, you're okay. Let's see.
Or is that 275?
We want to follow the signs for 275.
Okay, so that will be that one. That thing.
Yeah, it's 2. You're doing good. It's on this side here, because that side's going to take you to Lansing, and we don't want to go there.
It's going to be a left.
Right.
Yeah, I've often thought about moving somewhere like this where there's less people. You can have some land.
In
You don't have
1.5 mile,
neighbors.
turn right at exit
All
1
over
onto
you.
I-96
I don't know.
East towards Toledo, and then keep left onto N5 East towards
Exactly.
Detroit.
The signs right there. We don't want to go to Lansing.
Oh yeah, it's just being weird. It's gonna tell you.
This is where we. This is.
Turn right onto I-96 East
where we
towards
wanna get off
Toledo
here.
now, and then
It's
keep
now we
left
follow the
onto
signs for
N5 East
275.
towards Detroit.
That's it.
In 3/10
There's a
of a mile,
split
keep
coming up
left
here. Let's
onto
see.
N5 East towards Detroit.
Okay. I thought it was silly. I thought like where we were going to get the Tahoe was gonna be like a nice open country, real nice
Keep
area.
left now.
And it was like near Flint, Michigan. It was kind of a dump. No offense to Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, Flint, I never really. I always perceive it as a low, kind of shitty area. You know, I've driven through it a couple times from the Dream Cruise, and I never really. You know what I'm saying? I just never.
In
It had some
1/2 mile,
farm-
keep
some
left
farmland,
onto
but then it
I-96
was like,
towards
a
Detroit.
lot of it was rough. Like you can tell that. What is it? GM left the area. I think.
Oh yeah.
You know. big
Well, Flint used to be called Buick City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Buick City.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So is that around the time when GM left?
Probably.
Wow, what's going on here? People just
Keep left now.
just going crazy.
He's lucky that thing stopped there.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a wine guards that we're going to see soon on the right-hand side. Yep, this looks all familiar. I'm going strictly by frickin' instinct.
Proceed 5 miles on I-275
Yeah.
south.
Yep. And then we're going to dump on to another one. Yep.
There's probably going to be a small amount of traffic there coming forward, like in a little bit, but it's
Why isn't
not
it at this Ford dealer, Tom Holzer? That would be great.
Tom Holzer.
Holzer. Just passed it.
I think they're big on YouTube. No, they're big on the radio. It's an old lady.
Come down to Tom Holzer Ford. Well, we treat you like family.
They all say the same thing.
Yeah.
All the same gimmick.
They got to make their money.
So 275, we're gonna be in that far right lane. It's gonna take us to M14, and M14 will spit us back out to High 94.
Dealerships got to make their money, and I got a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth with regards to private sellers, because I had to turn around and flip that car. I mean, I was honest, but I wasn't too honest. I had to get rid of it. I wasn't saying, look, you're gonna have to fix everything. But I let him look at the vehicle, and I told him safety concerns that I had with the brakes, and I warned him, 100% warned him. This car, the brakes, they're not great. And he was like, oh, I can fix that. I was like, all right. You know, when you're looking at a used car, you want to look at the brake fluid. You want to check the condition of the rubber underneath the cap. If it's all warped and out of shape, you know, that is an indication that that entire brake system has now become compromised. You know, stuff like that, when I kind of dropped the ball.
Well, here's the old school experience. This dealership should not even be freaking trying to sell this car if it is so substandard. They're taking it in, so they must feel that if they've done an inspection, that they've looked at this, and if they fudged it, shame on them. We'll catch them with their pants down, but that's why we're coming to a dealer that's going to say, hey, look, we're not saying this car is 100% perfect, but we're saying it's 80% good.
There's a standard here with these dealerships. And
otherwise, that's what wholesalers are for, what we call B lots. Low-end lots. They're going to sell the car, not back it up, maybe possibly offer you an extended warranty, which on that car would be pretty much out of the game, because I believe most of them go 20 years. It's not 20 years, but I think the ceiling is 175 on the odometer.
Yeah.
So you can't put a warranty on this car by no shape or form.
Right.
And
it can't be certified.
Right. Way too old.
Too old to be certified. The miles are too high. I believe certification right now is
it used to be $400 for us for a GM car that was 2 years old. Look at this mess. What is it?
Yeah, this is what we're seeing on the map here, but we moved really fast.
Right.
It's not real long.
See, this is the 96 M14 junction.
Oh, is that what it is?
Right. And we want the M14 junction, because M14 again will spill us back up.
Right after we get out of traffic, we'll be at M14. So you know kind of where that is on our map. That kind of shows how long this is. It's a substantial amount of traffic. But,
it's saying we're going to arrive there at 2 o'clock. Is that what it's trying to tell us?
Yeah. So that's going to give us a good, if we get there at 2, it's gonna kind of back down like 202 whatever.
Yeah, I know.
And it's probably going to get back up once I start flying like
right. It takes
within the speed limit.
Right, it knows you're tacking on time.
Yeah. And once it'll probably flow a little better once all these lanes, like maybe they're going down to one lane. Once we get through that, it'll flow better. But yeah, there's a standard that they have to follow with this.
Right. If this truck has no business being resold, they have no business putting it up for sale for any price.
Here's the thing. I took a day, and I went and spent almost the whole day looking at these B lots at these vehicles, and it's pretty bad. They're bad. You open an engine compartment, they're full of grease and oil. They're dirty. The seats are ripped. You know, they're not cleaned up. They're not detailed at all. I mean, they're just it looks like they're just getting these off of auction and they're just turning them. They're not under. Yeah. They can be. Now that being said, there's some that they know what they're looking at. They have, and it's probably still better than going to a private seller. Because I looked at a couple where there were some issues but it still started up and ran good. was probably going to be okay. But they're just turning them as quick as possible. Now they're turning them here too, but they're making money here.
Mm-hmm.
They're making, like you said, a couple grand off of this deal. But technically, they did do some work.
It'd be great if they did, man, and as long as it's done correctly.
Well, not necessarily work on the vehicle. I don't think they did anything too much to the vehicle, but they technically did the work up front with finding the vehicle, having that knowledge, whatever. There's a municipal
In
truck
1.5
taken care
miles,
of.
keep
Let's take
right
a look
onto
at this. There's time to go on
I-275.
there. Storage, all that. They can get us a plate today if we do this. So
You have to be an agent for the Secretary of State. Morales was like that too.
So
Well, right, all your taxes are paid. You won't need to go to the Secretary of State no matter what. The worst scenario would be they put a 15-day on it and mail you a plate.
nah, they took the birthday and
Okay.
figured it out. But it will be. It's a lot easier. It's more money, yeah, but it's keeping me out of the Secretary of State potentially. And what I did last time was crazy. I bought this vehicle and drove it, no plate, hour and a half.
Well, they claim that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to plate it with another fake plate because that's incorrect. I mean, if you got the paperwork on just making a purchase,
I did put insurance on it.
that's the way you want to see where it says Ann Arbor, M14, right one.
So am I gonna be all the way right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
You don't want to stay on this one here.
I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna stay here because it's moving.
Yeah, and then
And I'm gonna jam my way over there like a millennial would. I'm an aggressive driver. As much as I'm complaining about aggressive drivers, I'm one of them. Driving to Dearborn in the morning, it's a fight, and I'm used to it. I'm used to fighting with the traffic. I'm not the guy who's tailgating,
Right.
and I'm not cutting people off too close. But I know how to handle it. I'm speeding. I'm going like 80. I'm moving. So it's just how you got to be in today's world. You got to be aggressive. Those morning commutes, it's crazy to see how dangerous it is. Like every day you're seeing somebody flying off the road.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
Listen to the news reports in the morning. Look at that big accident with that little Mac done to a drunk driver, but
Well, I don't watch the news, but geez, when did that happen?
Tuesday morning.
Jeez.
Shut
Somebody
I-94
died.
Little Mac down for 5 hours.
Somebody died.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Can I explain
Yep.
No, I feel like this
That is terrible.
the first album that we've gotten to record where
That is terrible.
there were truly no parameters. We didn't feel we had to cram.
But yeah, I mean, the dealership's been cool so far. I mean, pretty cool. But there is one thing that they said that's not good. He said that he can't work today because it's not his Saturday. He works the other Saturday. And he gave me
In
the
1/2
guy's
mile,
card.
keep right onto I-275 towards Toledo and then turn right at the exit
Right.
onto
Is that-
M14 towards Ann Arbor.
Yeah, where it says Ann Arbor is where we
Yes,
want
is that open?
to. It's not. No, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just gotta get over there. Oh boy.
It better be, otherwise we're screwed. We can't go this way. This isn't going to take us there. Not that I know of. I don't see that being closed. They got arrows, but
Not everybody's.
I don't see anybody. Well, we'll find out when we get there. So in other words, the guy you talked to is not working today.
It's not working today.
Okay. But the price was set.
The
if
price is
you decide,
set.
if you
It's
want.
texted to me, emailed to me.
Okay.
Confirmed.
So he's dealing. So it's one of his co-workers. He's
One of his
working the same. Don't mean a damn thing. Whether this guy's you talked to gets credit for the
They're
same.
probably splitting it.
Yeah, it could be.
know.
He's got to do the delivery. I mean, it's a simple, you're
Here's what he said that was unsavory. He said, "My buddy has a wedding to go to
Okay.
at 3. He wants to be done."
Okay. Well, we would like to be the fungu out of there too.
Yes.
We want to get our way home too. We don't want
Well,
to be
here's
there.
the thing. Put me with somebody else. If I have to be out of here at 3. Put me with somebody who can be there at 3:15.
Keep right onto I-275 towards Toledo now and then turn right at the
deal's done.
exit
It's either we
onto
like it or we
M14
don't. The
towards Ann
price is
Arbor.
set.
Everything's set. The insurance is emailed. Everything's ready.
Right. So don't even worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. We'll take a good 45 minutes.
It's not a new car delivery where they got to go through 30 freaking things to launch you. No, trust me.
See, that was pretty
In
aggressive.
4/10 of a mile, turn right at the exit onto M14 towards Ann
These people
Arbor.
are like, they're being dangerous.
There's no road is not closed. They're looking underneath the bridge. They're always working on Saturdays because it's their light day. All right, now you want to follow the sign to Ann Arbor. Follow that sports car, whatever it is.
Yes.
There you go.
But yeah, like put me with a guy who has
Turn
time.
right onto
Yeah,
M14 towards Ann Arbor
but,
now.
I mean, we can make it happen, but that was just the only thing.
It'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned that the truck's good.
Yeah.
We'll get through that. Don't worry. It ain't the fucking paperwork you're gonna take dick. You're gonna have RD108. You're gonna have a odometer statement, as is statement. There isn't that much involved in it.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah.
Here we go, like the old days. 14.
Brings back memories, huh?
Yeah. Some good, some bad.
So back in the 90s,
Proceed on
we
M14
were
west.
driving out here in that Pontiac 6000.
Mm-hmm.
What? And that's interesting because around that time, my mom was driving a Pontiac 6000 too. Must have been a popular car.
It was. I mean, I bought it used. It was an '86. I bought it in 1992 from a Pontiac dealer.
What color was it?
It was gold. In fact, it ended up being my dad's last car. I sold it to my dad and bought it in '92. And I sold it to my dad in '94 because I bought Grandpa Gene's 92 Lumina that spring. I was buying.
Those cars. Everybody drove those cars.
I was buying Grandpa Gene's cars every 2 years. I bought his 94, his 92 Lumina, his 94 Lumina, and his 96 Lumina APV van. I bought them all from. He drove them 2 years, then he got into the Ventures, and then I started leasing Ventures in 2000. But my dad was long gone. When my dad died, he died in '97. I had a '94 Lumina sedan. It was a nice one.
Back then, you were buying them, right? Like
Yeah.
not leasing.
Oh, I wasn't leasing nothing. I was out of the car business. I was buying, Grandpa Gene would buy one about every 2 years, and I would take what he had. And then he started keeping them a little longer, so I started leasing at least a 2000 Venture minivan.
Oh, okay.
So, and then I started going every 2-3 years, but it was fine. I mean, I don't know if the traffic was any different.
Were you going 80? Like, what speed did you drive?
The speed limit by then was at 70, 75.
So you just did the limit?
You don't want to go any more than that. You can run into too many cops out here, man.
I've never been pulled over for going 80.
Lucky man.
I've gotten pulled over for going 90. But usually I just go 80. I don't know. Just never had a
Well,
problem.
maybe they don't pick on anything that high. Maybe it's not worth to write somebody for 10 over. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe
And
50.
usually, though, where I'm doing it, it's usually 55. So out here, you're going over only 10 over. It's probably not worth it. Especially roads like this. I mean, I know there ain't no cop for 2 miles.
So we've been on the road about an hour, right?
I think so.
Almost.
Yes, almost an hour, less than an hour. Wow. Hopefully it's a nice area. I don't want to go to another Flint.
Oh, it's not. It's a nice area. It's older, but like I said, the last time I was here was when I buried my mom. Brought her up here. That was in May of 17.
So this is a special place for you. You know, your dad lived here for all those years.
Yeah, my mom and dad
Parents
are
are
buried here.
You want to stop at the cemetery?
I'd love to for a minute. I don't know if we can.
After we do the deal, we can stop over there.
Yeah. Let's just see how it goes with yours. We might be both in the same car. We don't know.
I brought an extra raincoat for you,
Oh, okay.
just in case it rains. See, pushing 80 is perfect because look, our time goes. We get it back. Whatever time we
Well,
lost.
everybody knows the speed limit's still at 70 to 75. They're not going to touch it at 80, but 85, I'm sure they would.
Oh yeah.
Because that's enough for them to make some gravy.
I got a really nasty ticket going 85 miles an hour in Indiana. And
70.
I was flying. My mom had me drive her to Indiana. And I was like 18 years old. And she rented a car. She didn't put me on the rental, but she needed someone to help her drive. She was getting her doctor's degree or some crazy stuff. School is for fools. But she was getting her doctor's degree. No offense, Mom. You watch this, probably won't. but she got her doctor's degree, and I had to take her to Chicago. But I was going 90 the whole way because I just wanted to get there and get done. I was going probably 90 in this 2000 Corolla. She rented.
That's as scary as it is. A little car like that, you're hearing humming away.
Yes. And this cop pulled me over in Indiana. And he wrote me a ticket. And keep in mind, you're only in Indiana for a split second. When you're going to Chicago, you're in Indiana for a split second. I was going so fast, and I saw him, and I slowed down and tried not to. Because I saw him, by the time I saw him, he was already getting ready to pull off. And I was like, this cop is going to pull me over. She was like, what are you talking about? I was like, no, I'm getting pulled over for sure. Pulls me over, I get to the right, the cop goes, what are you doing? I'm like, driving. Because you know how fast you were going? 90. 86. I clocked you. He's like, you can kill someone out here. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And he realized I wasn't on the rental. He's all upset. He didn't know what to do. He was mad. He was one of those angry cops. And he just wrote me this horrible ticket for reckless driving and all this stuff.
Reckless driving's nasty. It's a 6-pointer, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. I lost my license for a long time over that. You know, the early days I was dating Donna, I didn't have a license. I was just riding dirty. I don't know if you knew.
I remember that.
I just rode dirty. I was like a criminal. Yeah, I had 12 points on my license. Combine that with all the other speeding, I was pretty reckless. Yeah, this is why I felt. At the time when I was young driving, full cover, or no fault insurance for me was in excess of $400 a month. I felt like if I had to pay $400 a month, I could do whatever I want. I can drive how I want, I can speed, I can go do donuts in the snow. Look how much money you're charging me. I mean, this is for my protection. So I would go out. I remember one time I broke a rim doing donuts in the snow with my old Chrysler. Eventually I just didn't even pay the insurance because it was so much money I couldn't pay it. And I would just get the card. Back then you could get the card and not pay it. And that's what I did. But having that on my record messed me up so bad for so long, for years. I was just always either 1 point away from losing my license. My license was gone. I didn't know it because I never got really mail at my house because my parents wanted to make sure their insurance didn't go up, so I didn't get mail at my house. I had to get it somewhere else. And then I would go get my mail. I'd be like, oh, my license has been suspended all year. I didn't know. I get my mail a couple times a year. It's pretty bad. But now I got a perfect record and my insurance is pretty cheap. So it was just a rough time, for me. What I had to do to get my license is I had to go all the way to Lansing without a license. Drove all the way to Lansing and go and see these driver responsibility people. You're not allowed to get a ticket. In Michigan, when you first get a license for 2 years, they don't want you to get a ticket.
It used to be 1, yeah, in the old days.
So, and within the first 2 years, I had 12 points.
Yeah, that's bad news.
So they were like, look, you're losing your license. Well, how much do I owe? I remember I was working at Mark Urey. Tony at Mark Urey loaned me like $1,000 to get my license back. He just gave me cash to get my license back, and I could pay him back. I was like, look, I need to get my license. I need to borrow some money. He peeled off hundreds and was like, here, just pay me back out of your check. I went in there with all this money. I'm like, how much do I owe? I'll pay you. And they're like, you don't owe anything, but you need to do your time. I'm like, what? So I had to deal with them. I drove all the way to Lansing for an appeal. And I had to cry in front of the guy and tell him that the reason that I was speeding is because of the accelerating issue that Toyota was dealing with at the time. Remember the Toyota scandal where they were accelerating? I was like, look at the records. I was in a Toyota. It was just speeding. I was in a Corolla. It didn't even have cruise control. And he ended up lowering it from 6 months or like a year to like 3 months. And I just had to make it 3 months without getting caught. So that's how I got by. It was horrible. At the end of the day, it was a good thing because it helped me kind of learn not to do what I was doing, which was crazy driving. A lot of tickets. But it was not fun. It was a lot of pressure. Just anxiety. But people change.
Yep.
Saying 156.5.2 miles, probably longer than that. 156. That's pretty close. This drive's going by pretty fast. But this dealership does not know about the social media following. I didn't tell them. I should have, maybe. I did a very...
stay on 14, so you don't want to veer off to Toledo.
Stay right. Is this lane going to end? Or?
No, but it's going to give you the opportunity if you want to bail out.
I did a very controversial video, and it wasn't at my dealership. It wasn't at Dorian Ford. It was at another dealership. And what they told me is that I cannot do full synthetic oil.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. People were outraged. People were saying, tell us the name of that dealership so we can call them and tell them how we feel. I'm thinking like, dude, oh my goodness, do you know what kind of relationship that could... I don't know how much power a dealership has. They may get upset with me and just, you know what I mean? They make millions of dollars.
So you don't have to move, but just make sure you don't go...
Dealerships make millions of dollars, right?
Supposedly.
You know, I don't need another entity upset with me because of a story that I've done. That's why I didn't tell the name of the dealership. But people are like, tell us, we're gonna not go there. I'm like, dude, this video is public for the entire country. It's irrelevant what dealership it was.
So we want to follow I-94 west. It's going to pretty soon. M14 is going to turn it back into I-94.
So technically, we're getting back to I-94. We're going to go west. So 2.9 miles.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a
I'm going just by instinct here.
Left-hand turn.
Yeah, we want to stay to the right, where it says Ann Arbor Flint, and you're in the right lane. Just stay straight. You just don't want to get off here.
So I want to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we're gonna go. The exit's gonna be on the right-hand side, but I want to be in.
All right. Pretty soon, here it is. It's ending right now. We're gonna be merging back onto I-94.
Okay, we're just gonna merge. It's gonna be that easy.
Yep. There you go. Now we look for the exit to get off to get into Hillsdale. When you get off, we have to go through Jonesville. There you go. It's like the old days. Shoot. It is a more direct hit. It's a 3-jumper, but it's very coordinated.
Yeah.
So now we're back on I-94, which technically we're looking for the exit to get us.
But you haven't thought about doing anything like this, have you? Like moving out somewhere where it's simple?
Until you mentioned Hillsdale, I didn't think about it. It was funny.
But your dad had a reason to come out here.
He came out here because Gina was out in Jackson, and then they found this.
This is in the middle.
Right.
Or somewhere closer. Yeah.
But
In 1.5 miles, turn left at exit 45 onto M14.
We just did that. It's behind us.
It's behind us?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You're good now. This is I-94. We stay on this till... I'm thinking the exit is New Hudson. Because there's not an exit that's going to say Hillsdale.
Okay. We're relying on you because this is definitely not working.
And I'm not the best with directions, trust me.
Well, we'll figure it out.
I start going by what I remember used to be around me,
It's telling us in 0.8 miles, Ann Arbor is kind of exit.
We don't want to get off at Ann Arbor. We want to stay on I-94 West.
Right.
Let's see what this sign says.
In 1/2 mile, turn left at exit 45 onto M14 towards Ann Arbor.
We have to
We have to go to Ann Arbor, right?
Yeah, we have to do that.
Flint we don't want. Ann Arbor we do. You're right. It just wants to make sure you don't do this. Go that way.
Yeah.
Take you to Flint.
Turn left onto M14 towards Ann Arbor now.
I'm surprised the camera hasn't died.
The battery's only good for so long, isn't it?
Yeah. Beautiful country.
Look at all
Perfect time to hear all the colors.
Yep, because this is a changeover time for sure. We got to be splitting on the I-94 soon.
Yeah,
Jackson.
it says there. A little bit of.
First thing you'll see the sign not to pick up any hitchhikers. Jackson State Prison.
Yeah, prison.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep, there it is. This is
Proceed on US 23 business route.
That guy can't really drive.
He's just trying to situate his ass. Nobody's going good enough for him.
Oh, that guy's not going fast enough for him. Oh, there we go. So he's gonna make a move. I'll let him do it. See, some people, they'll see something like that happen, where that car obviously is gonna want to go right. They'll speed up. Oh, you're not going. Make sure they can't get over.
Yeah, you're on the right path.
Yeah, people are gonna like this podcast for sure.
Might be a legendary one. You might have to save it for 20 years from now.
Maybe, I don't know how YouTube works. If it's gonna be there, I got so many videos up, but it is hard to save videos.
Yeah, does a video stay on YouTube indefinitely? I mean,
As of right now, it does. But what if
how can they archive or store that? I mean,
whatever they're doing, they need to tell Netflix, because Netflix, they always take stuff off because they say there's no room. But YouTube just keeps growing and going.
Yeah, it makes sense them saying that because I mean, come on. You are right on target here.
Yeah, I don't know why Netflix does that, but YouTube, they've got this data that's just been expanding, and then you got to think people upload it in 4K. I mean, I don't know how they have room and how the infrastructure works, but they got some servers somewhere. But my videos are going to be up to whether or not YouTube can store them, because I can't store this many videos. I don't have the space to do it. My systems. And when I'm shooting videos and filming, I'm deleting everything. Before we shot this, I just deleted everything. Just gone. It's all gone. I can't save it. It's just too many gigs.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the storage would be incredible. I mean, if it's a process of it cleaning itself out every 30 days or...
Yeah, I mean, my first video ever uploaded 5-6 years ago is still there.
No kid.
Yeah. I've deleted some videos.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll look on, when I'm on YouTube, I'll look 2 years ago, 6 years ago, and I'm looking at cars and stuff and people with YouTube. If you're trying to find something semi-fresh or something that just came out yesterday or last week. But yeah, you're right. You'll see stuff that's 5, 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
10 years old.
Yeah. It's interesting because I do a lot of videos of whatever, truck, F-150. I just released a couple F-150 videos that did really well. But if I do a personal video, like personal life, it doesn't do well at all. But you can look back at that video down the road years later, personal life video, and it brings back so many memories. Like even from 2017, it's so much more precious. Where sometimes I don't watch my own videos. Like I'm not gonna watch this podcast. I was here. I can't watch in a couple. What am I gonna do? Watch a couple hours that I already pretty much seen because I was there. This might be a podcast that 5-6 years later down the road you want to look back on.
Right.
10 years you can look back. Hopefully.
Oh yeah. I mean, I might not be here.
So I might not be here. I mean, anybody could potentially, pass away in that period of time. You never know who. But
I wanted to mention that to you. I saw something interesting that I didn't get to see 100% of yesterday. But I'm coming home yesterday down 12 Mile to catch Little Mac, and the Outback Steakhouse on 12 Mile in Gratiot.
Yeah.
Did Jared go there?
He worked there.
Oh my gosh. I just caught him. I mean, you're driving at 35 and it said, now he belongs to the ages. Rest in peace, Jared.
Yeah.
I thought it said Jared. Wow.
Yeah, that's where he worked. He worked at so many places.
That's what they said about Abraham Lincoln.
Really?
Yeah. Now
What an interesting...
That's like the biggest compliment you can give somebody. Oh, Zeeb Road. Used to be a White Castle right around there. A couple times I stopped with Grandma Tilly, and from Hillsdale she'd be hungry, or I'd stop and get on Arby's.
White Castle though, right?
Hey, there was one.
Wow.
Oh, I guarantee it. I remember it. But
yeah, it's so crazy that somebody could just take you out like that. And we know it can happen. But we just don't think it's going to happen to us. We don't think it's going to happen
that guy's all done. He'll never see the light of day. poor thing is the family has to go through a trial.
There's no way to repay. There's no way to punish this.
Right.
You know, for people who don't know, one of my close friends was killed. He was shot in the head at a bar like 2 weeks ago. His funeral was just or was it this week? I think it was this week.
Well, it must have been. You guys were at the funeral on Tuesday. I mean, no one will...
I kind of suffer from time warp. Sometimes I'm always doing so much stuff, and so much stuff's going through my head that I do kind of like in a week. In a week for me, so much stuff can happen. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's a busy time of your life, but I remember 30 years ago, 1989, Laura was a baby, and Donna came in 91. It's a busy time of your life.
Yeah, I don't think my memory's going to flow like that. I don't think my memory's going to be like, I remember Nathan 19, or from 2000.
Well, you want to, but your mind only is going to capacitate so much, and then some people can remember more than others, and then there's usually has to be some type of event that would make you store that or can jar your memory.
Having a kid takes how long? It takes like from the time where Nathan is now, from the time where he was like conceived and we found out the news. It takes so long, but it seems like a minute. It probably takes almost 2 years for him to get to where he was when we found out that he was coming. So 2 years.
Well, you told me on my birthday, which in 2 months will be 2 years.
But that's right now. From looking back, that's like a snap, a blink of an eye. So it's definitely going by faster. You know, as I'm getting older. Have you experienced anything like that?
Oh God, I can think back to 40 years ago when Karen got her MA. She graduated from Carnegie. She was going to Carnegie 40 years ago. I'm not going to live another 40 years. I'm going to live another 20. I mean, 40 years
probably
ago.
Live 20.
That puts me at 80. That's it. It's over. You know, 20 years it goes by like this. You know, 20 years ago was 1990. What? I'm not thinking right. We're what?
1990. Yeah, because we're in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Or what year is it?
1999. Yeah, I was 40.
Wow. 30 years ago was 1990. That's my age.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. 1999, 20 years, just like that. It just goes faster and faster.
It does as you get older. It does, even though it technically doesn't. Jackson 20.
It technically doesn't, but your perspective changes. Right. Say you're 1 year old and you become
right. When you're 3, you can't remember 2 years back because when you start to get to be about 18, 20.
Say you're 3 years old and say the time from 3 to 6. Those 3 years is literally half your life.
Right.
So that's half of everything you know. So a year is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're 90, that's just 1/10 or one. Say you're 100. A year is only 1/10 of everything.
Right.
That's that. It's just a snap of the finger. So it just perspective changes. Your life just gets bigger every year. In contrast to the last recent year. So
I mean, my father's been dead for 22 years. That's a long time. And you know, he was 68, and we all thought, oh, he was old.
Right.
Yeah, did you tell anybody that age now that was 68?
Yeah.
He's young. I'm in my 60s. I'm going to be 61 in 2 months.
Technology too has helped a little, I would think. Not even so much technology, but the idea of like taking care of your health.
Yeah.
Now, the idea of like, okay, you should stop smoking, or you should stop drinking, whatever.
Right.
That part's better. I don't know if necessarily the health care is that much. I mean, it's definitely better, but they haven't made any breakthroughs as far as like longevity into your 80s and whatnot. Just choices. It's now easier to make better choices, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're very right on that.
But the medical system, I'm scared of going to the doctor.
Well, who isn't?
I mean, it's very scary. Like,
it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation.
Yeah. Jeez, we still got another hour to go? Am I looking at that right?
Yeah, you're
No.
right. You're good. I mean, I don't know what you wrote down, but does it tell me how many miles we've gone?
I didn't check. I didn't reset it.
I can tell you that once we get off the expressway, we probably got at least another 25. It's 140 miles roughly, you know?
Yeah.
And we've been driving, we couldn't have done more than 80 or 90. Let's just say we've done 90 to be nice. 90s. We got another 60, which is about another hour.
But we're smooth sailing. I don't think there's any more traffic.
All these 1877 calls.
Oh, there's a deer.
Yeah.
Something to think about coming home. The sun starts setting.
Yeah, my dad hit one about a year before he died. Oh man.
It's got to be hard.
He wrecked that car up pretty bad. Lucky him and my mom didn't die.
Yeah.
Fletcher Road. My dad was, I know I'm getting kind of close when I get near Fletcher.
Wow. But at least it's open road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be hard for me to move out here, being this far away from family.
Yeah, it's tough.
You gotta have some kind of retirement money. I probably have to go somewhere where it snows a lot.
I've stopped at that gas station before. Hopefully we can find a Tim Hortons.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Get a coffee and maybe a nice Raisin Bran.
You didn't bring that cooler, did you?
No, of course not.
Did you forget?
Yeah, I didn't have anything in it, but
Donna's like she's so like like on top of it.
She's
like,
gonna yell at me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell her anything.
But if you want a water, I have them, but I know you don't like Ice Mountain.
I'm good. I don't really want a water per se. I would.
Coffee would be good on the way home. Keep us up, wake us up. But anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap up the podcast. I'm pretty sure it's recording. Hopefully it is. But comment below as always. Thanks for watching. There's going to be a few people that watch this to the end, and I appreciate it. Tony, thanks for doing it.
Oh, this is great. It's kind of like a fun adventure.
Yeah, and we'll take a few shots of the vehicle. So in the event that we don't get the vehicle, we'll at least have a few shots of it. So
We'll tell you why.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.